Hello friends, it's Miss Justina and I'm here with another story time. I know we've gone a little bit different than we used to do before. We were doing it right here in the library, but now coming to you right at home. And we're going to continue working on our virtual story times at least through the end of January just to be on the safe side. But I am excited to bring you a whole new way to have story time. So let's go ahead and get started with our very first song. I love the library. It's my favorite place. Stacks of books in every space. Fat ones, thin ones, from wall to wall. If I read and read, I'll read them all. Fantastic job, everybody. So I know whenever I saw you all last, we were talking about the important holidays that happen in November. And I know we talked a lot about Thanksgiving. That's a holiday that everybody knows about. But, boys and girls, did you know that November is also National Novel Writing Month? A novel is one of those really thick, long books that you might see your mommy, daddy, or even a big sister or another friend or relative reading. And novels are also something that you could even write one day yourself. So this week we are going to focus on the theme of the love of reading and writing. And we are going to read several classic stories, or what they consider classic stories, that have been adapted or changed or done a little differently to make them more appropriate and more fun for kids. So we're going to go ahead and start off with our first book for today. And our first book is based on a book, really more like a short story, by a famous author known as Edgar Allan Poe. And this book is called Edgar and the Tattletale Heart. And this was written by Jennifer Adams and illustrated by Ron Stuckey. Like I said, this is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart, but it's a little bit different. This is going to be a story about Edgar. Edgar, Lenore, I am going out. I will be home soon. Be good while I'm gone. Do do do. Do 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 do. Edgar! They were just drawing nice pictures, and Edgar, what did he make over here? He made a paper airplane, huh? There he is. He's throwing paper airplanes around the house, but uh-oh. What do you think's going to happen to the statue that's in this picture? Crash! Oh, no! Look what you did. I'm telling Mom when she gets home. Uh-oh, he broke that statue, didn't he? Well, maybe she won't notice. Edgar. Where did Edgar try to hide the statue? Do you think it's really hidden inside the couch? No, I don't think so either. I'm going to tell. He's trying to think of all sorts of different places to hide that broken statue. Well, maybe we can fix it. So do you think maybe Edgar can fix the statue? I know he's gonna try. She'll be home soon. It looks like he tried with that tape. I don't know if it's super fixed though. I'm home. Uh-oh. Now that Edgar's mother is home, what do you think he should do? Do you think he should keep hiding the statue that he broke? Or do you think it would be better for him to tell the truth? I agree. It's always better to tell the truth. Let's see what Edgar does. Mom, Edgar and I were coloring, and then he started throwing paper airplanes at me, and then he pushed over the table, and then... Lenore, don't tattle on your brother. We have to give Edgar his own chance to tell the truth, right? Edgar, Do you have something to tell me? Well, I'm sorry I broke your statue. I didn't mean to. But I made this for you. It's okay, Edgar. I love you. With all my heart. The end. So see, now Edgar definitely should not have been throwing paper airplanes in the house. That's what broke the statue in the first place. But it's good that he decided to tell the truth, and in the end, his mom was just happy that he was okay. All right, well, you guys know what's next. After we read our first book, it is time for the children's bag. So let's see what's in our children's bag this week. Children, children, do you know, do you know, do you know? Children, children, do you know the thing I'm holding up? All right, now all the things in our children's bag this week have to do a little bit with reading and writing. The first thing you might recognize. You may have used one of these at school, and they come in all sorts of different colors. You might also just have one laying around the house. Sometimes they have rings on the side, and they're always filled with paper. Do you know what it is? Good guessing. It is a notebook. Right. Now this is a small notebook, and it's filled with paper pages. You can write all sorts of different things in. And these pages are lined pages, or lined paper, which is very useful for when you're first learning how to write, so that you can get your letters to be the right size. Great guessing, everyone. Let's see what else is in my children's bag today. Children, children, do you know, do you know, do you know? Children, children, do you know the thing I'm holding up? All right, let's see what else is in here. The next thing that's in our children's bag is actually kind of unique. Did you know, back in the day, oh, you can see the top of it. I bet I know what you're thinking. I bet you're thinking, Miss Justina, that's a pen. I know what pens are. You're right. But this is actually a special pen. This is a feather pen, also called a quill. Back in the day, long, long ago, they did not have pens like we have that are made out of plastic or even metal. They used bird feathers to write on. They would actually hollow out the shaft of the feather and they would dip it in the ink. And that is how they would write. Now, our feather pen is not quite that special. Our feather pen is just a modern version of a feather attached to a pen. But it is our way of paying homage to the old-fashioned quills that were used back when Edgar Allan Poe would have been writing his original book many, many, many years ago. Great guessing, everybody. Let's see what the last thing in my children's bag is today. Children, children, do you know, do you know, do you know? Children, children, do you know the thing I'm holding up? Now this last thing, what is in my children's bag? I don't know. This last thing, oh wow, it's a yellow thing. It's a plastic thing. I don't know if this is really about reading or writing. Any guesses what it is? That's right, it's a shovel. Ha! Now, you might say that this is more used in the summer. You could shovel sand with this, or even in the winter, maybe you'll shovel some snow. I like to think whenever I'm stuck writing a book that I can shovel my way out of trouble. Ha! Well, that's great guessing this week, everybody. Good job. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to our second book of the day. Our second book of the day is actually a collection of stories. We're not going to read all of the stories that are in this book today, but this book is available right here at the Altoona Library. So if you'd like to read the rest of the stories that are in it, you could come and check it out whenever you like. This book is called The Ghastly Dandies Do the Classics. and this was written by Ben Gibson. And this has several classic stories in it that have been written in a much smaller, simpler format. We are going to focus on 2 of those stories today. The first story that we are going to read is called Moby Dick. And this is a story about a whale. Hi, call me Ishmael. One stormy afternoon, Ishmael was in the mood for adventure and decided to set sail with the crabby Captain Ahab. Ahab had searched the 7 seas for Moby Dick the whale, but to no avail. Permission to come aboard, Captain? Aye, matey, but be warned, your mission is quite monstrous. Moby Dick the great white whale has bit my leg, and I must bite him back. Now, it's never good to bite somebody back, right? We shouldn't bite people, but we'll see what happens. Until that fateful day when they spied the great whale in the distance. Batten down the hatches, Captain. Let's cast off. Ahab finally got a taste of revenge. There she blows. Chomp. He bit the whale. Crazy. But it tasted super gross. Ew, gross, slimy whale blubber. Ugh. Let's go back to New Bedford for supper, Captain. Rhubarb pie tastes much better than revenge. And that is the end of Moby Dick. We are going to read one more story that is in the Ghastly Dandies, though there are several more that we could read. The next one that we are going to read is called Sherlock Holmes and the Dancing Man. The Case of the Dancing Man. When a crime rocked Scotland Yard, Sherlock Holmes was on the case. Quick, Watson, quick! The dancing man has stolen the crown jewels. Along with his partner, Dr. Watson. Sir, I've found her. Well, egads, Watson, this might be a clue. Watson spied the crook. That's a lovely crab, sir, but up in the sky. He heroically chased the man through London while Holmes remained unaware. By gum, it's raining. Tally-ho, sir. Holmes bumbled along while Watson was hot on the trail. We'll boot up the crime computer, dust for fingerprints, and hound the suspect for answers. But, sir, I've already got him. Elementary, my dear Watson. The dancing man was right under our snoots all along. Well done, sir. Case closed. And that is the end of Sherlock Holmes and the Dancing Man. Be sure to check out the Ghastly Dandies if you'd like to read more stories like that. All right, next we are going to move on for our activity of the day. I thought it would be a great idea, since we were talking about reading and writing, that maybe we would learn a little bit of reading ourselves. Now, I know that most of you may not have started reading yet, and that's okay. We're going to learn just a few words today so that we can read a whole sentence. And we are going to learn to do that by mixing some reading with some motions. And that will help us remember what the word is. So we are going to learn a couple words today. The first word we're going to learn is the. T-H-E spells the. And to remember the letters that spell the word the, we're going to clap for each of those letters. So let's clap together, shall we? T-H-E spells the. Let's do it again. T-H-E spells the. One last time. T-H-E spells the. Great job. Remember that. Stick that in your brain. Lock it down. T-H-E spells the. Good job. Next up, we're going to learn another word, just a little short word. We're going to do it the similar way as the last word, but we're going to do a different motion this time. The next word we're going to learn is cat. C-A-T spells cat. And this time, we've already clapped, so instead of clapping, I think that maybe we should pat our heads. So let's try that, okay? C-A-T spells cat. And again, C-A-T spells cat. And one last time, C-A-T spells cat. 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 Very good. So now we have two words in our brain. We know that T-H-E spells the, and we know that C-A-T spells cat. So we have just two more words to learn, and then we'll be able to put them all together in a sentence. The next one we're going to learn is a little shorter. It's only 2 letters long. Very simple. And that word is in. I-N spells in. Now, let's see. We have already clapped our hands. We've already tapped our heads. What are we going to do for the word in? I know. Let's stomp our feet. Are you ready? I-N spells in. Let's do it again. I-N spells in. And one last time. I-N spells in. We're in our class right now. All right. And the last word we're going to learn today actually rhymes with cat. We're going to learn the word hat. H-A-T spells hat. H-A-T spells hat. Now we need to think of a motion to go with our word hat. We have already clapped our hands, tapped our heads, stomped our feet. What else could we do so that we can remember that H-A-T spells hat? I know. Let's rub our tummies. Okay? So we gotta rub our tummy 3 times for these letters. That's H-A-T spells hat. Great job. Let's do it again. H-A-T spells hat. And one last time. H-A-T spells hat. Great job, everyone. Now we're going to put all of those words that we've just learned together and form a sentence. Are you ready? There's our first word in our sentence. Remember? Let's do our claps. T-H-E spells the. Very good. Next up, we have, that's our head pat. Ready? C-A-T spells cat. Cat. So far we have the cat. All right, next up, we've got our stomps. Are you ready for our 2 big stomps? I-N spells in, right? The cat in. Now this is the same word we learned before, remember? We did this with our claps. So let's go ahead and clap again. T-H-E spells the. Very good. So let's put our sentence together so far. We have all right, we got one more word to go, and that is our tummy rubber. So let's do that. Are you ready? H-A-T spells hat. Great job. Let's put it together. The. Cat. In the hat. The cat in the hat. What do you think about that? Great job, everybody. That was fantastic reading. And now you are just a couple steps closer to being able to read books on your own. We have one last story that we are going to read today. And this one's a little bit of a nice long story. And again, this is based on a classic story by an author called William Shakespeare. You might know about the story, or your parents or your other family members might know. This is based on a story called Romeo and Juliet. But in our case, we're going to read one about a dog and a cat. And their names are Romeo and Juliet. And this is by Nina Layden. In the fair and sometimes not fair city, there lived two nearby feuding families. The Fellinis were cat people, it's true. They could not stand dogs or what those dogs do. The dog-loving Barkers hated all cats. Normally, we would just leave it at that. But we have a tale to tell of their pets. A story of love, a story of regret. A story that has not quite started yet. Now here is Romeo and Juliet. Benny, Marky, and Romeo were brothers and the best of friends. One fine morning they were taking a break from their naps. "I'm bored," said Benny with a yawn. "Let's go to the park," said Marky. "What for?" said Benny. "Well, to look for trouble," said Marky. "No," said Romeo dreamily, "to look for love." "Yuck," said Benny and Marky. "Go back to sleep." But Romeo was already on his way out the door with his tail held high. The park was a great place for adventure. There were trees to climb, birds to chase, and dogs to watch. "Let's head to the off-leash area," Marky suggested. "Can't catch me," he caterwauled to a large husky trapped behind the fence. "What do you think?" he asked Romeo. "Should we play dodge dog?" Just as Romeo was about to reply, a carnivorous canine charged the cats. The hot-headed dog barked, snapped, and nearly jumped the fence. "Here, Turbo," someone called. "Come on, boy." Turbo reluctantly left, and the cats decided that they should too. "That was a close one," said Benny. "Marky, one of these days you are going to get us into trouble," Romeo said, scowling. "Come on, guys," Marky replied. There's a costume party in the neighborhood tonight. I hear they are having barbecued salmon and grilled shrimp. Shall we groom ourselves? What do you say? Well, I say we get home and get ready, Benny cheered. Okay, Marky, but no tricks, Romeo warned. Back at the Fellini house, the cats dug through bags and drawers. When they were done, the room was as messy as a litter box. Dressed in their flashy finery, they streaked out the door like lightning and bolted into the night. It was easy to find the party. Throngs of revelers, sounds of laughter and music, and delicious smells spilled into the street. But that's the house of the cat-hating Barkers, Romeo protested. The sign says all welcome, said Marky. Besides, we're disguised. And I smell fish, Benny purred. I smell trouble, Romeo mumbled, looking at Marky. But the Fellini felines followed their noses. At least Benny and Marky did. Romeo followed his eyes. Gazing across the room, he thought he saw an angel. And as he got closer, he felt warm all over. She was the most beautiful sight he had ever seen. May I have this dance? Romeo nervously asked. He was delighted when she gave him her paw. As they danced, Romeo smiled, and she smiled back. They twirled and dipped. The room spun. Romeo had never felt so happy. He looked at her collar. Druliet. Now there's a name I'd drool over any time, he said. And what shall I call you? Druliet panted. But before Romeo could answer, Turbo, the terror from the park, growled from out of nowhere. You can call him a freeloading Fellini cat. Now scram before this party turns into a kitty catastrophe. My name is Romeo, Romeo called as he escaped. We shall meet again, dear Druliet. Not if I can help it, Turbo barked. Good boy, said the Barkers. Romeo drifted through the Barkers' yard in a dreamy fog. He couldn't get Druliet out of his mind. Then suddenly he heard her voice coming from a balcony above. Oh, Romeo, where is that fur-faced Romeo? I do not care that you are a cat or a Fellini. If you were a creature of any other name, it would still make my tail wag. With a running start, Romeo jumped onto the balcony and landed next to Druliet. Call me any name you want, Romeo purred. Just call me yours. That moonlit night, cat and dog fell in love. They had no cares, just the stars up above. Romeo licked Druliet on her face. His whiskers tickled, but she smiled with grace. We shall be married, said young Romeo. I'll be with you forever, starting now. Meet me at the church, sneak out of your house. There we will be wed by Monsieur Mouse. But what will the world accept what happened next to our dear Romeo and Druliet? They met the next day in front of the church. Romeo took Druliet to a small chamber in the back. Monsieur Mouse entered, his robes flowing, his tail trailing. Are you ready to be joined together as husband and wife? He squeaked. I will love you and fetch you anything you desire, Druliet promised Romeo. And I will love you and groom you even if I get hairballs, Romeo promised Druliet. You may lick the bride, pronounced Monsieur Mouse. Happily married, Romeo and Druliet went for a walk in the park. The sky seemed blue, the sun seemed brighter. Suddenly, a large shadow ran towards them. It was Turbo.
Juliet, we've been looking for you. What are you doing with that cat? He howled. And you, Fellini cat, will soon be puppy chow.
Let's not fight, Romeo pleaded with Turbo. We are family.
No cat is kin to me, Turbo bellowed.
A crowd started to form. The barkers arrived out of breath. Benny and Marky ran to Romeo's side. Well, this is foolish, Benny told Romeo. She's a dog. She's not worth it. Marky hissed at Turbo.
Roll over and play dead, Fleabag.
Turbo exploded and attacked Marky. Stop, cried Romeo. It's me that you want. Romeo drew his claws as Marky crawled away to lick his wounds. With all his might, Romeo swiped at Turbo's snarling, snapping, massive muzzle. In seconds, Turbo sank to the ground with barely a whimper. Cat got your tongue? Benny taunted. Romeo wanted to run to Juliet, but all of a sudden he was grabbed from above.
Okay, Stray, you're coming with me, said Officer Prince, the animal control warden. And get that dog on a leash, he yelled at the barkers.
Romeo turned to see what was happening to Turbo, but it wasn't Turbo that he was talking about. Turbo was sitting quietly with his tail between his legs. It was Juliet. Before the barkers could collar her, Juliet took off running. As the animal control truck sped off with Romeo held prisoner inside, everyone scrambled out of the park. The Fellinis pursued the van, the barkers chased after Juliet, and Benny and Marky took shortcuts through the back alley. The truck skidded to a stop at its dreaded destination. There was a huge commotion as people, cats, and dogs arrived. Officer Prince opened the door to Romeo's cage. A split second later, Romeo spied Juliet across the street. She didn't look for traffic before she crossed. Before Romeo could call out to her, he heard the worst sounds of his life. First, there was screeching, then a dull thud, and at last a silence as big as the universe. Everyone looked on in disbelief. Juliet lay motionless in the middle of the street. No one moved. Then Romeo ran towards her. "Juliet!" Romeo cried. "My love, my wife!"
"His wife?"
the crowd on the sidewalk gasped. "We haven't even been married a day," he sobbed as he rubbed her head with his. "I still have to give you your wedding present." Then Romeo licked Juliet. He licked her face. He licked her ears. He licked her paws. And slowly, Juliet opened her eyes. She whimpered, "Oh, Romeo, it's you." "Were you expecting a cat in a hat?" Romeo teased. The crowd cheered. The barkers hugged the Fellinis. The Fellinis hugged the barkers. Turbo, Benny, and Marky even high-fived. Officer Prince said it was a miracle and the charges were dropped. A celebration was planned for that evening, and this time all really were welcome. So how is it that our heroine lived? From a gift only her true love could give. This cat gave his dog one of his 9 lives. They shared all the rest at each other's sides. Fellinis and barkers became fast friends, and cats and dogs played together again. Now stories will come and stories will go. Some wither and die, and some blossom and grow. Some live in your heart, so don't you forget the tale of Romeo and of Juliet. The end. Wasn't that a fantastic story? I know it's a little long, but it's worth it in the end. And even though we thought there was going to be a sad ending, it turned out that Romeo and Juliet are going to be just fine. Right, and the very last thing I'd like to talk about is, of course, our craft for this week. If you picked up one of the Grab and Go activity bags from the library, then you will have received this Fall Colors coloring book, as well as this cool Color In bookmark. And these, again, are based on the fact that we're talking about reading and writing this week. So you could go ahead and color in your bookmark, and you could color in your different pages of your fall coloring book, and maybe even practice some of those sight words. If you did not pick up one of our Grab and Go activity bags, we will have the link to where you can download and print these on your own at home. All right, I cannot wait to see you all next week. Let's go ahead and do our final song. The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. When your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. Goodbye, friends. We will see you next week for story time.